as the practice has evolved and gone mainstream, and as you get more and more traditional financial institutions and advisory firms and whatnot coming in to the conversation and to the work, there's been this, I would say, a shift to when you adopt a big tent and you say that all capital, all companies have impact. And so we have to think about what's the nature of impact, what's the intentionality, what's the strategy, and that there are different ways to think about the relative value of different types of impact. So, I've often said that like public companies have a certain way that they can create net positive impact, whether it's through employee health and wellness policies or hiring policies or CSR initiatives, things like that. It just looks different from, let's say, a microfinance fund's impact. And it's not necessarily better or worse. It just depends on how you understand the purpose of your capital. And so, in the absence of a deeper conversation and reflection on that purpose question, you end up coming back to this definition of impact investing as the pursuit of, in the Gin's terms, it's pursuit of, I think it's market rate returns with measurable social and environmental impact. That's a very limited understanding of what this conversation is about, as opposed to, I would argue, in the earlier days, people were much more clear and cognizant around the need to have, gender equity, racial justice equity, ownership equity. I mean, a whole host of other ways to think about it. And I think those ideas are still in our community and in practice in various ways through various funds and strategies. And when you're now moving to this kind of trillion and maybe multi-trillion dollar marketplace, they can get swamped, if you will, by the larger kind of institutions and movements of capital that really are more focused on, let's say, metrics as a means towards standardization of products, as opposed to metrics as a means to assess and understand outcome and impacts relative to a change agenda. And this then becomes part of the challenge that we have as we get confronted then with the rise of authoritarianism, which I argue kind of slides into fascism very rapidly. Those institutions are not the ones that are going to lead the response. And so this is where I have felt a need, and I think it's post number 6 deals with capitulation. When you see what the corporate community has done, the speed with which these folks have surrendered all the DEI and climate and all this other language, much less practices, in order to go to this other direction. It's really breathtaking, and it really does show the degree to which those organizations and actors were viewing this more as a market opportunity, as an opportunity to aggregate AUM capital, as an opportunity to introduce products that they could charge fees around, but not as an opportunity to challenge the fundamentals of modern financial capitalism or to bring in and innovate kind of new ways that we could be active in systems change relative to that capital.